independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The story of the day, you know what everyone is talking about? Everyone I know. They are outraged about what's happening tomorrow night.
The dueling town halls.
Yes. Why on earth would NBC agree to do that?
All right, I'll plus minus it. Equal time.
Or you can do equal time on a different night. You can do equal time at a different time. You don't have to do it at the same time and then divide the country further by having them choose. The whole point of it was to bring them together.
He said he wouldn't do it any other time.
So he's controlling the programming schedule at NBC?
Okay, let's unpack this really quick. So tonight, it's the big dueling whatever. Town halls. I'm not even quite sure in the age of COVID how we're doing this, because the few town halls I've seen, it's like we're at a drive-in theater, but that's what this is going to be. It's also a business, guys. It's a business. You guys know that more than anybody. Don Lemon, Fredo. You guys are good at it, but it's a business. It's a business. I black out and NBC. People at NBC and MSNBC are freaking out. I can't believe we're having this guy. This is what this is. He's a president of the United States. He's also your moneymaker. Understand that. He's your dollar bills, yo. He may be going away soon. Those ad revenue dollars that you guys get because you spend every waking hour destroying him, covering him, following him, fighting with him, they may dry up. Hell yeah, you're going to have him on. And if he wants to come on tomorrow, you'll do it again. And if ABC had a chance to get him, they would have. Don't think that CBS didn't try. Why? Because at the end of the day, yes, it's a presidential election, but it's also a business.
They're allowing a man who made all the wrong decisions by showing up at a debate, not getting a COVID test, and then becoming a super spreader, and then refusing to do the debate. And they're rewarding him with prime time on a major network, on cable, and on their Spanish-speaking network. Someone who made all the wrong decisions and someone who backed out of a debate. How does that help the American people?
First of all, I'm totally fine with him backing out of the debate. I thought the Zoom idea was a stupid idea. I think we all, if we're logically thinking and not living in a world of I can't stand Trump, and because I had zero problems with that. And Trump needs this, right? Like, that hurts him more. Secondly, after the first debate, if I remember right, everybody on that station, CNN and everyone else goes, we don't need to see another one of these. I don't think we do. Not if it's going to be like that. But at the end of the day, it's a business. And don't think for a second tomorrow, when the ratings come out, people go, wow, X amount of people watch Biden or X amount of people watch Trump. They're going to go, And if Trump wins that, he can say, see, I told you guys. And if Trump loses it, well, people will talk about that. But it's a business. It's a business. You talk about the election. You can talk about equal time. You can talk about all of those things. The president calls, says, I want to do a town hall. Would you be interested? You're going to take that call. I'm not a sycophant. Right? I'm not sold for Trump. He's the president. I want him to do well. I wanted him to be fine and get through this. It'll be the same thing if Biden wins or if Trump goes another 4 years. If he does something good, I'll say it. If he does something bad, I'll criticize him for it. But if he calls and says, hey, I'd like to come on the air and talk about stuff, first of all, I've got some questions. Secondly, yeah, I'm taking that phone call. I'm taking that phone call. And if you call their people, and you're ABC, you're NBC or CBS or whoever, and you say, hey, would you be interested in maybe doing a town hall? Because, Biden's got one. And they say, yeah, we'd be very interested, but he could only do it at this time. Or he only wants to do it at this time. You say, hell yeah. Because it's a business. That's what this is. He's done all the wrong thing. He's the president. But he did stuff that he's the president. But he's the president. I saw the people at MSNBC and CNN are like, I can't believe we're going to have him on our air. He's the president. Let me tell you why you guys don't matter. Okay? You just don't. You're a second assistant producer. Tweet all you want. Nobody cares what you have to say. You're the editorial person at MSNBC. You get it. You've been in the business long enough to know going, yeah, you know what? It's a business. You're hating him all the way to the bank. So you better get while the getting's good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. So yesterday, the big thing that's going on, and it's funny, watching, there's this Barrington Declaration, and this is the new battle that's going on. And it's funny to watch, and it shows you the media. We're going to get into the media today and just the insanity of all of this. But the talk about herd immunity and the whole thought process that the people spin it as is, well, that's just insane. Well, it's actually not insane, and it's not what you think it is or it's being spun to be. Since day one of this thing, the media has played a game where they want you to be terrified to the point where you don't leave your house. It started with, we need to be cautious, wash your hands a little bit more, maybe wear a mask. And then it went to the point where we're going to have to lock some stuff down, but don't worry, we're going to flatten the curve. And then from flattening the curve is we're going to slowly open up, but we're still being cautious. And then it went from all of those things to, in some places, finding a cure. Nobody's answered any of the questions, and I've hit up everybody. What if you don't get a vaccine, or the vaccine you get, while it is effective-ish, isn't in fact gives you kind of effect that you want? What if? Endemic versus pandemic. Pandemic is what we have right now, but many people, bright people way smarter than me, think this is an endemic. This is like the flu. This is something that's going to be here, that we're going to have to prepare for, and that eventually over time our bodies will learn to fight off more often than not. But when you hear herd immunity, oh, you want to kill old people. What? Oh, yeah, that's what I hear. You want to kill a bunch of old people. You want to kill the vulnerable. The weak, you want to thin the herd. That's what it's all about. Did I say that? No, I've been calling for strategic protection of people to a certain extent. I'll tell you something. If you're 80 years old, you want to see your grandkids, and you know you're on borrowed time, right? You've already won the lottery as far as age-wise. You've outlived the medium age, and you want to see your grandkids. And the potential of you getting this could potentially be real. And there's still a chance that if you got it, you'd survive, because even older people, more often than not, survive this. I don't think we should tell people no. And it's funny to watch people fight and argue and protect people in nursing homes, those same nursing homes that 99% of the people that are bitching at when their parents are in a nursing home, they don't go visit. But that's not what herd immunity is all about. But the way they make it seem is as if well, if you do it, it's mass murder. It's nonsense.
This idea,
Dr. Fauci, by the way,
this idea that we have the power to protect the vulnerable is total nonsense, because history has shown that that's not the case.
So if we do not have the power to protect the vulnerable, then do we have the power to protect anybody? I think that's a fair question. If we can't protect the vulnerable, then what are we doing? Is that a fair question to ask? I do believe it is. So hold on a second. We have no power, Dr. Fauci, to protect the vulnerable. No. This thing's going to do what it does. Then what are we doing? Because while it's doing what it's doing, it's destroying our economy. Let me give you a little number here. This is scary. Veterans are struggling to the point where this thing is so much worse, the lockdown, than the actual virus itself. Here's a number for you. On average, the VA receives about 40,000 calls a month dealing with struggles of PTSD and other things psychologically. Since the lockdown, 900,000 calls a month. And the VA saying we're overwhelmed and it all has to do with the restrictions. The cure? The disease? If you're telling me we have no way of protecting the vulnerable, then my question is, what are we doing? Just curious. And nobody's answered the question about what if the vaccine isn't all it's cracked up to be? Because if you think people are going to live like this forever in 20, 30% stagnant unemployment, doing nothing, well, no. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hope all is well. 19 days till the election. Now, is that 19 days till it quiets down, or is it 19 days till chaos? That's a fair question right there. 19 days till the quiet, or 19 days till chaos? That's interesting. Because we may have 19 days and have an election, and then we have a few days of quiet, and then if it's really close, and then all of a sudden everything is counted with the mail-in ballots and the absentee ballots and all of those things, then there may be chaos. But you never know. You never know. MyPillow. Love it. I have my Giza towels and my Giza sheets. My Dream Sheets are awesome. They're just... Everything MyPillow does is quality, and you get a 10-year warranty, and you get it's made in the USA, which is awesome, and the 60-day money-back guarantee. They put their money where their mouth is. But when I buy sheets, and I think many of you are the same way, you go out and these sheets are nice, and you wash them once, and then they're like, they never fit right again. Well, you don't have to worry about that with the Giza sheets. These things are awesome. The cotton is amazing. It's so breathable. You sleep so cool, and the fit is incredible. It truly is. And they've got deals galore right now at MyPillow. Don't take it from me. Go see for yourself all the things they have. But if you want the best cotton, most comfortable sheet you'll ever own, you go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. Receive 2-for-1 low pricing plus free shipping. It's MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. You're going to get 2-for-1 pricing on Giza Dream bed sheets. Use the promo code Benson, MyPillow.com. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Cause there are people worse off that have suffered enough. Haven't they suffered enough? Commander-in-Chief, honestly, if I did the things you do, I couldn't sleep. Seriously, do you even know the truth?
Demi Lovato. Awful. It's a new song, Commander-in-Chief, basically just saying Trump sucks. And she's getting... It's interesting. She's getting blowback from, yes, the people on the right, but she's getting a lot of blowback from a lot of people just saying, hey, this is just awful. like, take away the message. This is bad. Like, the message aside, Demi, this is not good. It isn't. And you can do what you want. I don't care. If you feel that you need a celebrity to tell you how to vote, and you're like, I wasn't going to vote for somebody, but then Taylor Swift said I should vote for somebody, and I'm like, I probably will. Please don't vote. You're suspended automatically from the next two voting cycles. You are. It's just, and I'm being mean. Look, she's every right to do what she does. Rock out. Do the whole thing. Knock it out. Do whatever it is that you need to do. You can hate the president all you want. But on the music side, because I work with a bunch of young 20-somethings and early 30-somethings, and they all said the exact same thing. God, that is awful. I said, well, you know what? It was. But you've got to listen. Because when I think of like political songs, to me, it's always folk singers. It's always like a folk singer, somebody with a bad, raspy voice who's just a little bit above a poet and can play like a few chords telling you how bad everything is. That's what I think of. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just me. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. I still find this interesting. Fauci, herd immunity, and he knows better. And Dr. Gupta, not that Gupta, one of the lead on the Barrington Declaration, who's an immunologist. I mean, it's like very, like beyond this is some quack who's a massage therapist, a real person that has the chops and the resume. She and her colleagues feel like, we could, this thing's real. This is how we need to approach this and the vulnerables who we need to protect. But then you hear Fauci.
This idea that we have the power to protect the vulnerable is total nonsense because history has shown that that's not the case.
Well, if we can't protect the vulnerable, then what do we do? I'm curious. Is it nature? Is that just what it is? Just nature. Well, if we can't protect it, so we shut everything down to protect everybody? And the vulnerable in particular? And now we can't, but we're staying shut down. Feels odd. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Story about President Trump in The Atlantic, where you had more than 20 sources on the record disputing the content of the email. You have the Ayatollah of Iran tweet death to Israel. And this is permitted on Twitter, but not an email that is reported, by the way, by Fox News' news division, by the New York Post, a credible outlet. You are not allowed to share that information. And make no mistake, if they can ban the press secretary of the United States for President Trump, they can ban who is a citizen, and that is pathetic.
Kayleigh McEnany there apparently was being abducted by aliens. Yeah, she was this Hunter Biden thing. I'm going to give you my straight skinny. Does anybody really care? Now, those of you out there who hate Biden, who live in Fox News world, it's a big deal to you. To me, I've got bigger fish to fry. I have a son who's really struggling right now because the lockdown is eating him up and their kids are falling behind in school. I'm doing everything I can. I've got my other business going and I'm seeing friends struggle on a daily basis. It's with their businesses struggling big time. And most of you are kind of in the same boat, right? Most of you are in the same boat. And I'm not saying that in other circumstances, this wouldn't be a big deal. The bigger deal out of all of this, though, is the way that social media handled it. That, to me, is a bigger deal. And it's tough if you're Trump, as a person who's, I'm not sold for any of these campaigns, but it's tough if you're Trump to, I think to win over a lot of people when your entire family is somewhat an advisor or inside the administration in some way, shape, or form. So did Hunter Biden, use his position to try to court his father to talk to people from Burisma? Probably. But Chad, I get it. It's a big deal to you. You watch Fox News all day. I'm thinking about the average person here who doesn't know who Hunter Biden is, who probably thinks Hunter Biden sounds like somebody who should be a model. But to me, the news is what social media did. There's really no denying, and they haven't really super denied it, that there was emails back and forth and how they got this computer. The guy that apparently got the computer that was being fixed is pretty much blind. Says, I couldn't tell you if it was Hunter Biden or not. But then it got to Giuliani, and then there's just all kinds of, like, welcome to the weird world that we live in, right, of nefariousness. They're not really denying, but whether anything was set up and whether any meeting was taken doesn't really at this point seem to have had to happen, but it might have. But the social media aspect. So yesterday, the New York Post went with it. Some people call it a tabloid. It's more tabloid than news. But at the same side, it's got an editorial department, so there's news about it. It used to be a much bigger thing, and they've went in a different direction. And yeah, they're right-leaning, but that's like, so's the left, late-leaning New York Times. But nobody really covered this outside of Fox. And the social media side of thing was weird because, yes, Facebook and Twitter have both said, yeah, we pretty much did all we can to kind of squash this.
And this is a questionably sourced story, to say the least, that appeared in a tabloid that President Trump and his allies are really trying to seize on here, alleging that Joe Biden may have had a meeting that was set up with somebody that Hunter Biden worked with on this Ukrainian company. Now, the story is so dubious, and we should note, by the way, that the Biden campaign says that meeting was never on Biden's official schedule.
Well, that may be true, but you're not denying the emails. Right? So, it was never on my, and the whole thing is, if I'm going to do something, I think we can all agree with this, unless you're in Florida and you're an idiot thief or something, or what most people do now when they commit crimes, which is some sort of stream. But you don't put something on an official something. Hey, that thing I'm not supposed to do that could get us in trouble. Yeah, why don't you write that in the calendar? No, it's not the way that works. Now, I don't know what took place. And even listening to all of the channels that are now kind of being forced to cover it because it has become something, that the way that they're spinning is, it's dubious, it's not real, none of this stuff happened. I mean, Biden just admit, well, I didn't take the meeting. But the way that the news media, and in particular social media giants, handled it is what's frustrating to me far more.
But Facebook and Twitter made moves to try to limit the spread of this story. And the Washington Post is reporting that some intelligence experts think this has the hallmark of like a disinformation campaign meant to interfere with the election, Savannah.
Yeah, and extraordinary because Twitter's CEO also said Twitter should have communicated better about why it was taking down the content.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it got blasted. And, what frustrates a lot of people is the fact that they feel like, especially on the right side of the aisle, that and rightly so, that so much of it is arbitrary. It is. Look, Twitter and Facebook, I'm here to tell you, if you're not, everybody that works there, minus a few, are super to the left. That's Silicon Valley, San Francisco, tech world, mostly uber left-leaning. We all get that. This week, we posted a truthful thing about Greta Thunberg endorsing Biden because of his stance on the climate change. And we got a disinformation. We find this to be false. And then when you click on it and it takes you to where it is, they somehow made the jump that we said that she wanted the Chinese people to stop using chopsticks, which is nothing. Nothing about that was mentioned anywhere. That's why people get pissed and frustrated. The scarier things about this is how these things are arbitrarily in the newsrooms being decided, and on the other side of it, how behind the scenes the game gets played and how it feels like it's completely tilted in a direction that most people see and these companies deny. And that is the frustrating thing. And I'm getting tweets and text already about, oh, Chad, the Hunter Biden story, this, that. Look, I don't want to hear this. This is the story here of all of this. And it's tough if this was another president, right? Like whose kids had nothing to do with anything, right? Or his kids were little. Then you'd be like, well, this may be a bigger story because Hunter Biden, look at that. Look what he did. Look at all. Yeah. And it was a regular time. There wasn't coronavirus. There wasn't 20% unemployment. There wasn't any of these. Then, yeah, this may be a bigger story. But when you've got President Trump in the White House, the corona and his kids are basically everywhere all the time. You've got inside actively campaigning, but also you can't tell me that they haven't had some advantages. So that to me is, I don't care about that at this moment. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I continue to go back to this over and over again with Dr. Fauci because this is something that should be talked about. So why are we locked down in a lot of places? I'm just curious as to why we're in a position of being either partially open, half open, not open at all, in these just crazy lunatic ways that some of these governors across the country are handling these things. Well, Chad, it's to protect the vulnerable. It's to protect the people. And then Fauci comes out when there's great talk about herd immunity. Oh, this is stupid. It's dumb. And then he says this. Listen to this.
This idea that we have the power to protect the vulnerable is total nonsense because history has shown that that's not the case.
Well, then what are we doing? If we can't protect the vulnerable, and history has shown that the protecting of the vulnerable can't happen, then isn't all of this for naught? I mean, then what are we doing? You talk to... And the problem is with this in particular is the science battle that goes on, right? We look at somebody like, everybody's like, Fauci. Why do you like Fauci? Well, because he hates Trump. He doesn't like Trump. I don't think he hates Trump. He just doesn't like Trump. He stands up against Trump. He gets silenced. And everything that Trump touches is a lie when it comes to this. Well, I don't think that's true. Now, has Trump dropped the ball in many cases? Oh, absolutely. But we need to start asking some real questions as we move into the holiday season and into next year, that somehow what is going to take place if we don't find a suitable vaccine. Vaccines help us get to herd immunity faster. That's true. But this is going to be an endemic, not a pandemic. At some point in time, we may have to actually have a real honest conversation about living with this, through this, and around this, and building up. Because the greatest thing to fight this thing off is you and me. That's the reality. That's the greatest thing to fight this thing off eventually, is going to be our bodies adapting and learning to fight. And herd immunity isn't you have to get it and have antibodies. And we still don't even know how many people have gotten this thing.
So this is actually a very dangerous and unpredictable time as far as the COVID-19 is concerned and its spread. At least 20 states now have been seeing over the last few days significant increases in the number of cases. You know, we talk about almost 8 million cases now in the U.S. These are cases confirmed by testing. Probably 10 times that number actually infected. That means about 80 million Americans are probably infected at this point.
That's huge. 80 million. I mean, the World Health Organization believes that we've had 700 million potentially infected. I don't know how much you believe them. But it says we only have 8 million of the, well, yeah, because the 90% of us who've gotten this, or what, you never know you even had it. Asymptomatic. Even people who I've known who's gotten this, who are very vulnerable, they didn't even know they had it. Some people get sick. But everybody, I think, is hoping for some sort of magic elixir. And I do believe we'll find a vaccine. How good that vaccine will be, I don't know. I thought by now we would have therapeutics. And I think we've learned to treat this thing a lot better. You just have to look at the mortality rate, and you can see that. But the question comes after November 3rd and after January 20th in that magic elixir. And I think a lot of people are hoping and praying.
In terms of all this, and what does it mean, and what should the president be doing? It's almost a waste of time to talk about what the president should be doing, and I'd like to retract that suggestion because he actually, as it turns out, doesn't know what he's doing, and a lack of forthrightness and dishonesty, we really cannot trust him. I think his network is collapsing, his credibility has already collapsed, and we're left really befuddled and waiting for some change that's not going to happen, I'm afraid, until we have a new administration in office and running the White House and the federal agencies that need to be taking care of us.
But let's say Biden does that, and you at the federal agencies take care. What are they going to do different? At the end of the day, it's about the states. It's states' rights. What are they going to do different? Are the feds just going to say, you guys no longer have rights, we're going to implement all of these things? What's he going to do that's different? Because I've seen his plan, and there's a few things that are different, but by and large, and he said, I can't, when it comes to masks, I can't mandate it. That's a state thing. And the states right now that have masks in place, which is most states, they're still seeing rises. Is this thing just with us? Is it endemic, not pandemic? I think it is. Will it run its course? Yes. That's a possibility. We have to ask ourselves the question about the what if, because I don't think we're doing that enough. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I love CarShield. 24/7 roadside assistance. Rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. What CarShield does is you call them up, and it's funny because I was talking to somebody last night about it, and they're like, they did everything except one thing. I said, well, did you tell them that you wanted that? Well, no. I said, well, you got to be specific. And they're like, yeah, I can see where it's like anything, right? You're specific in what it is that you want. And that's what CarShield's all about. Be specific. Say, I'm worried about the air conditioning. I'm worried about the electronics. I'm worried about my engine. I'm worried about whatever it is. They've got plans to start as low as $99 a month. You pay a small deductible. They get the dealership, the shop that you take it to, whoever it is, paid directly. It's a smart play for all of those out there who no longer have warranties and want some protection for your wallet and cover repairs. Go to carshield.com, use code Benson, that saves you 10%, or call 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
When we're in our own personal bubble here, I think everybody's in a much safer place. I think as soon as you travel, you get exposed to a lot more things and a lot more people, if that makes any sense. Even though I've worn a mask on the sidelines, I wear a mask all the time, in the hotel, on the bus, in the plane. So nobody really knows, how this occurs. But I know that our medical staff has done a really good job.
That's Nick Saban. Bama, roll tide. He and the athletic director have COVID-19. They said they take it seriously, and then they asked them point blank, you know what, you're almost 70. You worried about you?
Well, I feel fine, so I'm not really concerned that much about my health, but you never know.
Bama, roll tide. Florida, Dan Mullins, he wanted to see 90,000 fans in the stadium this weekend at the Swamp taking on LSU. That game looks like it's rescheduled now to later on in the year. Why? Because 19 players from Florida caught COVID. So, there you go. But, Chad, what would you do? Well, if we can't protect the vulnerable, then I'm still asking the serious question of, well, what are we doing then? If we know the healthy are going to get through this thing and we can't protect the vulnerable, I'm just curious as to why that we're kind of in a bizarre holding pattern. Could somebody answer me that question? Because the flattening the curve became the cure and protect the vulnerable and the elderly, but we can't do that. But let's all stay put. Interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Nearly 900,000 American workers filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week. It is the 30th straight week of historically high jobless claims as the pandemic continues to hit the American economy. Major employers like ABC News parent company Disney, along with United Airlines and Allstate, have announced layoffs in recent weeks, and more layoffs are expected in the coming weeks.
Yeah, you think? Not going anywhere. Now we're going to have some tick-ups here and there because we'll have some seasonal employment opportunities because it is the holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, you got Thanksgiving, obviously, but you'll see a tick-up there. But the reality is we're heading to the polls in 19 days. 19 days from now we're already starting to vote. This is how chaotic and crazy it was yesterday as far as how many people are voting. The last 2 days in Georgia, people were waiting 6, 7, 8 hours in line, depending on where you were. Other states are opening up today for early voting. Normally, this time of year, in a presidential election, about 1 million, 1.5 million people have voted. Came on the air yesterday. It was about 10 million. By the time I got off the air late last night doing all the other things, it was over 13 million people have voted. This is not 2016. This is not the same thing. And people are voting for different reasons. Some are voting because they are sold for Trump. He's making America great again. He's keeping America great again. He's going to bring back jobs. He's going to fix the economy. Some people are voting against him because they don't like who he is as a person. Some people are going to vote against him because they don't like the way he's handled COVID. Some people are going to vote against him because they hate the way that he lies all the time. They don't like his words. Everybody is notice I didn't say anybody's voting for Biden. I just say they're voting either against Trump or for Trump. There's nobody specifically going, I think that guy's the strongest candidate. Like, that's politics. It's not a meritocracy. It's not the best person has won. It's the person that this team thinks can get over the finish line with this driver. And they're probably kicking themselves. They're like, God, if we'd have known COVID was been around, we'd have ran somebody else. At this point, wouldn't have mattered. So, a lot of different reasons people are going to the polls. Is Biden going to do better with coronavirus? I don't know. How can you know? I mean, it depends on the state you're in, right? Like if you're in a state, let's say Biden wins, and you're in a Republican state where they're listening to a lot of what Donald Trump is saying. you're probably going to do the same thing. And if Biden tells you should do something else, they're going to do the same thing. If you're in a Democratic state and Trump has told you to do a lot of different things and you've decided to ignore and or sue him, you're going to do probably whatever Biden asks you to do. It's the beauty of states' rights. How your state handles it is kind of how you go along. That includes the economy and many other things. Whether or not you can and can't go outside in certain ways, whether or not you need to wear a mask here or not there, whether or not you can have live events or no more live events, whether or not you can eat at this restaurant or no restaurant. There's so many different things that go into this. I don't know if he's going to be any better. I couldn't tell you because we don't know. But the economy is huge. At the end of the day, whether it's the coronavirus that's caused the crush in the economy, it's always about the economy, stupid. And I don't think that's changed. The question, people who, I don't know how many people out there truly undecided, is when we start to make that true move back to normalcy. Who do you want running this? My fear with Biden, people say, what are your, because I asked yesterday and I got a lot of good answers. My fear with Biden is I think he's going to clamp down a lot. I think it's going to slow some stuff down. If there isn't I think Operation Warp Speed, who some people have argued may be Trump's finest achievement, not the courts, not the economy when it was booming, not getting us in any more wars, the taking on immigration and stuff like that. His biggest accomplishment, some people are saying, is the way that, for all the fault in the way he's handled this at times, the Operation Warp Speed could be the accomplishment, going from nothing, from not even knowing about a virus, to it really hitting here in February and March in ways where we started seeing states shut down, to all of a sudden it throws us in the grips of a Great Depression and it's killed 250,000 people, or it's on its way to doing that, and having potentially a vaccine let's be real. Let's say they have a vaccine in November. That's just several months. That would be huge. That would be huge. But everybody's voting for different reasons. Some people, it's the courts. Some people are one issue voters, a single issue. I'm voting on a singular issue. Others look at the whole picture. But most people, they made up their mind. And again, it's about Trump. They either like Trump or they don't like Trump. I talked to somebody yesterday. He's a really big Trump supporter. And he told me, he said, my biggest disappointment in Trump, and he goes, look, there's a lot of disappointments. There's a lot of stuff that drives me crazy. He goes, but if he loses, this is on him. And he didn't do enough to expand his base. He had opportunities to expand his base, and he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough to grow. And listening to him, it feels like, he said yesterday, hey, maybe I'm here next year, maybe I'm not. Maybe you guys don't want me. That's a possibility. It feels like he is understanding that this may not be the walk in the park that he thought it was be, and that maybe, just maybe, the tide is turning in a sense that he's starting to believe, I could be in some real trouble.
I'm running against the single worst candidate in the history of presidential politics. And you know what that does? That puts more pressure on me. Can you imagine if you lose to a guy like this? It's unbelievable. It's disgusting.
We'll see. They got town halls tonight, competing town halls. That'll be interesting to see. And for Trump, he doesn't care. Here's something. He cares very little about the answers that he gives tonight. He cares about tomorrow. Did I beat him in the ratings? I guarantee that's what he's thinking. Did I beat him in the ratings? Because if I beat him in the ratings, that's all that matters. Did I beat him there? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Kamala Harris has announced that she's canceling all events. One of her campaign staff members has tested positive for the coronavirus. It is a non-staff flight crew member, as well as Liz Allen, the communications director for Senator Harris. Neither of these people have had contact with VP Biden, Senator Harris, or any other staffer since positive test came back or in the last 48 hours prior to said test. She's going to cancel everything through Sunday, October 18th. And then Monday, she's going to have virtual campaigning activities. She'll return to some other campaigning later on that day. So, but for now, she's canceling. And I'm sure she's getting tested, as she should be. And if she did happen to get it, if she did, she's going to be fine. Just letting you know. If she happened to get it, and I hope she doesn't have it, she'll be fine. There's no doubt that she's going to be okay. No doubt in my mind. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Wounded Paw. Amazing organization. You know, we were just talking earlier. Do you know how important an animal is, like a dog is to a veteran? And what having that person respond that way to an animal and that animal respond that way, and the closeness and having that is huge. Veterans are struggling so much with the lockdown that the amount of phone calls that were coming in dealing with PTSD and other things has risen to the point where it was 40,000 phone calls a month on average to 900,000 since the lockdowns have begun. And this is where Wounded Paw comes in. They rescue dogs that are in shelters, train them for veterans, first responders, and their family. And the comforts and the things that these animals are able to bring and do is so amazing. Find out how you can help and give. A donation of a vehicle would be fantastic. You got an old car sitting around, you want to get rid of it, they'll take it. You get a great tax-deductible gift. And the proceeds are used to train and advocate for these animals so they can get them to the veterans, first responders, and their family. Find out how you can help. Take a look at all of the great work they're doing by going to woundedpawproject.org. woundedpawproject.org. It is truly an amazing organization, and it is so needed right now. woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and find out what's trending. Shall we? Okay. Monster Hunter, number one trending thing. Trailer came out yesterday. Not seen it. People are like, it looks bad, awful. I don't know, it looks like fun. Kind of movie I'd like to see. By the way, there's another horrible movie that's coming out. All you have to say is Nicolas Cage, and you're thinking, it's probably going to be bad. It looks awful, but it looks great. Yeah, it's awesome. It's called Jiu-Jitsu. He's the best. Hunter Biden, the uproar continues, even on Google. 500,000 searches in the last 24 hours about what took place. Not so much the scandal involving him, whether it was a scandal or wasn't a scandal, and his dad, then Vice President Joe Biden, but how Twitter and Facebook did everything they could to block the sharing, the spreading of people being able to see it, which they readily admit probably they didn't handle it too well. Barron Trump testing positive for the coronavirus. He's also testing positive for being large enormous. He's huge. That kid's going to be 9 feet tall. He's not going to be 9 feet tall. Ice Cube in hot water. Oh, goodness me. Will he melt? People are like, how can he be a sellout? He rapped about arresting Trump and F the police. But what did he do? He said, look, after, I contacted both Trump and Biden and Harris and them to talk about stuff. And, guess what? Trump got back to me. And it's very interesting it shows you, though. He says, look, both parties, they contacted me as well. Dems say we'll address the CWBA after the election. Trump said, hey, you know what? Let's talk. We'll make some adjustments. And they did. Nothing wrong with that. My God. Stop looking at everything. This is the problem where we don't even want to sit down and talk with one another. Right? We don't even want to sit down. I disagree with you. Hey, you know what? I'd like to get your advice on some of this stuff. What do you disagree with and how can I help? No, sorry. I hate you. Oh, get over yourselves, for God's sakes. Twitter, much of the same chaos, lunacy that you'd find there. According to the Washington Post, when it comes to Hunter Biden, Joe Biden did not push out the Ukrainian prosecutor for investigating with his son, says the Washington Post. Well, if they said it, it has to be true. Kamala Harris, Liz Allen, her communication director, has tested positive for, are you ready? Are you ready? The coronavirus. If you test positive for the flu, does that make news? I don't think so. Tommy Lee has said that if Trump wins, he's leaving the U.S. Good. Go. By the way, I said the same thing to people who said if Obama wins, I'm leaving. Go. Tommy Lee can leave. Do you want to know why? He has money. Right? He's got money. He can go. He can purchase a home. He could live there. He's got dollar bills, yo. They're going to be like, oh, Tommy Lee's moving in? That's totally fine. He's buying a home? Fantastic. It's not going to bug us any. We'll be all right because we don't have to pay for him. But if you're the average person and you're like, hey, I'd like to move to Switzerland, that's fantastic. Let us show you how you do it. Do you have money? It's like, not a lot. Sorry. We're not going to allow you to do that because we don't want to pay for you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Confirmation hearing and the confirmation vote. Yes, that vote for her when it comes to being the next Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett. Next week, the 22nd, 1 week from today, there will be a vote, which she will most likely be confirmed, and it'll probably be partisan. Joe Manchin, maybe. Kirsten Sinema, maybe. But it's likely that she's going to be confirmed because if you've watched any of it, there's no reason not to. If you're going by base, can you do the job that you've been appointed for? Not whether or not I like your politics, but you've been appointed to this. Can you do the job that you've been appointed for? And the answer to that is yes. She's more than capable, and the political side will make it so that she is, going to make it through by probably the skin of her teeth. But everybody knew that going in, and that means that there's a good chance that she'll be in place for the November election because apparently she's going to be Trump's secret weapon. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Listen to this. It's going to be played everywhere today. But you heard it here first or 15th. Doesn't really matter. Lindsey Graham.
Y'all have a good chance of winning the White House.
Oh, my my God. Trump must be so pissed. He's probably going to go campaign for the other guy against Lindsey for saying that. Do they have a good chance, Chad? Yeah. There's people out there who are just living in this fantasy world that we're going to wake up and Trump is going to have won 55 states. There's not 55 states. No, it's not. It isn't. It's real. Even Trump, I think, is starting to go, you know what? If you're Trump, let me ask you guys this, right? You're Trump. You get voted out of the White House. You're out. Or it's going to be a peaceful power if there is him being voted out. There's zero, I'm saying it now, zero worries from me that he is going to stay there. Zero. There's no doubt in my mind that he is going to leave. He may leave early. He may say, I don't know. You guys don't want me? Screw you. I'm leaving. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. Moving on. In saying that, what does he do? If he, like most presidents, there's always been that rule. That's an unwritten rule. You know how hard the job is. There's only been a handful of you, and only a handful of them are alive. So I'm not going to criticize the guy that's in there now. I'm not going to do that. But that's pre-Trump. Post-Trump, does he go, I came, I did what I had to do, what I thought was right. You can hate me for it. I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to hit golf balls all day, and I'm going to work on a few things, and I'm going to just do nothing else, and that's it. Or does he go full-on road tour? Big arenas, people showing up in groups of tens of thousands, and keep his brand politically alive, and maybe think to himself, maybe I'll make a run in a few years. Wouldn't it be crazy, though, if he just said, all right, I'm shutting my Twitter account. I'm out of here. You guys have fun? I don't think he can do that. I don't think that's in Trump's DNA or makeup. I think he's like one of those people, you tell him not to do something, and he sits there twiddling his hands, and you can see the steam starting to come out of his ears. Ah! But Lindsey Graham was right, and you're going to hear this all over the place. And Amy Klobuchar's like, thank you for acknowledging that.
Y'all have a good chance of winning the White House.
Y'all do. Y'all do. I don't even know if Lindsey's going to be there. He may be looking at borrowed time as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. So, George Floyd, we saw what took place. The aftermath of that and the rush to defund the police. And then Minneapolis did it immediately. They defunded the police. And then they wanted to abolish the police altogether. And then crime took off. And you had police officers saying, yeah, I don't want this gig anymore. I'm transferring somewhere else. I'm leaving here. You guys have made us, you've burned us in effigy on a daily basis, all bad things. That person's guilty, so automatically we're all bad and we're all evil. So you guys do it. And you guys are going to have a new plan where you're going to have some sort of, violence diversion counselor come out in bad situations. And you have all these things. And then crime took off. And people are starting to go, well, maybe we were a little hasty in this, but some aren't. Case in point, City Council President Lisa Bender.
Constituents have criticized Lisa Bender for not being available or visible during times of unrest in the city.
We're not really getting any responses from the mayor or the city council. We we feel kind of alone right now.
Liz Cruz isn't alone. She's one of many Minneapolis residents asking for help and relief from the gunfire and carjackings. City Council President Lisa Bender acknowledges what's happening.
We have an epidemic of violence that's affecting young people in our community, and especially young black men.
Okay. Well, what about the people that crimes are committed against, regardless of race and gender? I think that's a fair thing, too. People are going, hey, I know that you want to make this politically correct, but is there some way you could stop the gunfire in front of my house? I thought you had a counselor for this.
And we need our whole community to come together to address this violence.
But says it will take time to find permanent solutions. Some say talk of defunding or dismantling the Minneapolis police led to some of this recent violence. Bender disagrees.
I stand by the commitment that I made
to end policing as we know it.
After George Floyd was murdered by the police. We need a wholly new approach to community safety in Minneapolis. Our current system is not working to keep people safe.
Well, it sounds like the system that you currently have is also not working to keep people safe, because that number you gave us to call the violence intervention counselor, and that person's like, yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. They sound like they have guns. I don't know if I want to do that. Are you sure? No, you're gonna like it. No, I'm gonna pass on that. Hey, would you guys stop? Just everybody, let's calm down. It's not going to work, right? You want to build communities? You want to strengthen communities? You know what people want? They want opportunity. You know what opportunity does? It gives people hope. It gives people a chance to grow financially. It gives them confidence and builds other things. You know how you bring opportunity in there? You have a crime-free area. That's how you do it. That's how. Because what happens? Hey, this place looks like it's crime-free. I'm looking for a new place for my business. I think this might be the place. I can feel comfortable knowing that when I lock up shop or when my employees come and go, that this is going to be okay. Yeah, this seems good. I think I'm going to do this. Then you invest. And then lo and behold, opportunities come. And there's jobs. Oh, my God. With jobs comes some hope. And then another business goes, hey, that's a great idea. Then you got another business and another business and another business. And all of a sudden, it starts to open. It starts to expand. Housing values go up, right? More tax revenue comes in. Better schools, all of those things. This is not an overnight thing. It isn't. These things, she's right, do take time. We do need to look at different ways of policing, but not just defunding. Because remember, defunding really it's a reallocation of money. But we should be putting more money in. We don't say that with schools, do we? Hey, these kids are stupid. You know what we need to do? We need to defund the schools and reallocate it to something else. We don't say that. We say it with the police. We need more funding. We do need better training. We need more training and ongoing training. We also need them to have opportunities to turn to other people, because they're not drug counselors. They're not therapists, marriage counselors. We're asking them to solve the world's problems and societal problems. And that's not what they're there for. But that's what they've become. So, yeah, defunding? How about more funding? And I'm good with let's figure out a better way to police, a more modern way to make it safer for everybody. But you can't tell me that people leaving your department at high speeds because they don't want to be there anymore, and the talk of getting rid of certain things and moving in a much different direction, your city council said, well, we maybe acted a little hasty.
In a statement, Chief Madera Arredondo says in order to maintain peace and safety, he needs the support of the city council. Former city council member Don Samuels believes Bender's plan does not address the here and now. He says he and others in North Minneapolis are living in a war zone.
And your number one job as city leaders is the public safety for the citizens of Minneapolis. Your number one job. We are not safe. You're failing.
Yeah. And by the way, police stats show what? There's a spread in violent crime. What we never do, and this is something that I think we need to talk about more often, is, yes, we can talk about how some people, through poor choices, but they started out behind the eight ball, and then they made poor choices. They didn't have a father. They didn't have a stable home. And we can walk through all of those things, but eventually choices may. But what about the people that are doing the best that they possibly can and haven't made poor choices, which is a majority of the people who feel like they're being held hostage in communities while everybody tries to play nicey nice politics?
Our experience hasn't shown that police alone will interrupt these cycles of crime and violence, and that we need a more strategic and effective solution.
That's your experience? No. What's going to slow down the violence and the crime? Opportunities. Yeah, you're right, Chad. More humane opportunity. But how do we do that first? Well, we stomp out the crime. First, you do all you can to police an area to where there is little crime, therefore giving people to have freedoms to leave their house without worrying about being killed, mugged, sexually assaulted. Therefore, money flows into areas and opportunities start to come, and people that would have made choices otherwise see other opportunities. And with more tax revenue, better schools, better opportunities. It is not overnight. But defunding the police and the way that they've gone about it as a reactionary thing because it feels like the woke right thing to do is causing issues. And would we do this to schools? Because trust us, I think we all know there's a lot of schools out there where the kids are like, this kid's really stupid. I don't want to say it, but I did. And then you see some of the stuff that they're doing in schools and you're saying to yourself, maybe we need to defund this. You would never say that. Instead, they come to you every single time there's some sort of election and ask for more money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hello, Fresh. I love Hello Fresh. A little chicken last night. 22 chef-curated recipes. Fall is here. Kids are back in school, kind of back in school, not really. You're struggling. The last thing you want to do is sit around going, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? HelloFresh is here to the rescue. 22 chef-curated recipes every week, low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly options. Takes all the headache out of meal planning, and it's just simple and easy. It really is. You decide, hey, we're going to do this today. You pull out the recipe. You put it together. You cook it up, and in about 20 minutes, you're ready to eat. Headache of what are we going to have? Gone. No food waste. The portions are perfect, and you save about 40% versus shopping at the grocery store, which is fantastic. You can add extra meals. You can change delivery days. You can skip weeks. HelloFresh is flexible to fit your lifestyle, and they really are. The food is delicious. It's truly, truly amazing. Get started today with America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use code Benson. You're going to get $80 off across 5 boxes and free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson for $80 in savings at HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson, HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Y'all have a good chance of winning the White House.
Ooh, Lindsey Graham. Oh, my goodness. How angry do you think Trump is? Lindsey was a vocal critic of Trump till Trump won. Then he became a huge proponent of Trump. And a lot of Republicans I talk to, strategists and several who are in Congress, and a couple senators who aren't up for re-election have said, you know, if Trump loses, and off the records, if you will. They're very honest. Some have been honest on the records. They all feel like that there's a chance that there's some writing on the wall. But he said one of the Congress people I talked to the other day, who's also in a very tight race, said once he's out of office, if it happens, no matter if it's now or 4 years from now, you'll see people turn on him, and you'll hear stories, and you go like, oh my God, it was probably way worse than we thought. Is that true? Who knows? I don't know what to believe anymore. But that's Lindsey Graham at the SCOTUS hearings today, which they're going to vote next Thursday for Amy Coney Barrett to confirm or not to confirm. Oh, we're confirming? Oh, we are confirming. This is what will be happening, barring anything crazy. Barring any last minute Chris Blasey Ford, not Christine Blasey Ford or whatever, Chris coming forward and saying that somehow she and them were at barring anything like that, I just don't know how she's not confirmed. Even if you're a Republican that was on the fence because you're like, I don't know what to do, the reality is like, well, she's here. We've heard. Am I basing this on, we share a lot of the same beliefs and how we should interpret the Constitution. And she seems to be pretty sharp. So there's no real reason not to. And that's what this is coming down to. It's coming down to marriage equality, which isn't going anywhere because we're not taking white rights away from people. Did you say white rights? No, I said rights. Barring that, it's Roe v. Wade. And that's a huge thing, obviously. Second Amendment, First Amendment, huge. But those are really a lot of the things that they're going to be looking at. And if it's based, if this is based solely on can you handle the job as an individual, we can, I may not like the way or I may like the way you interpret it. Because she could have all the beliefs they like and she could have been an idiot. And I saw this thing, 88 people who work at Notre Dame, her colleagues have signed a thing. And there was no lawyers that signed any of those things. So if no lawyers signed it, why am I listening to you? This massage therapist says that you shouldn't bring her aboard. Really? Wouldn't that be neat if that's the way court was? You could use a massage. You get a massage where you're just sitting there listening to everything. You'd find more people to do jury duty, I promise you that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Tonight was supposed to be the second presidential debate, a town hall event in Miami. Instead, there will be dueling town hall events. Joe Biden taking questions from voters on ABC News and President Trump doing the same on NBC News, an event that was announced just yesterday. The third and final presidential debate will take place next Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee. Just the candidates and the moderator. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. Yeah. People are mad at NBC. I can't believe NBC's doing this. It's a business. Of course they're doing this. My God. You're making money off Trump now, aren't you? Yeah. So now we have the chance to get the guy? You mean the guy we talk crap about on a single day, every single day, all the time? The guy we can't stand? MSNBC? CNN? CNN would love to have him. Fox would love to have him. ABC would have loved to have him. CBS would have. I don't blame him for not doing the debate. I don't want to see two septuagenarians, two old guys argue on Zoom tell me, does that in any way, shape, or form have an appeal to you? 2 weeks ago, we were saying, I hope we never do another one of those again. And then having it as a Zoom thing, I would heartily pass on that. That's going to be a hard no from Chad. He's going to say no because nobody wants to see that. I was with Trump. I think if you're going to do this and you need to do this, you got to do it in person.
The story of the day, you know what everyone is talking about? Everyone I know. They are outraged about what's happening tomorrow night.
The dueling town halls.
Yes. Why on earth would NBC agree to do that?
All right, I'll plus minus it. Equal time.
Or you can do equal time on a different night. You can do equal time at a different time. You don't have to do it at the same time and then divide the country further by having them choose. The whole point of it was to bring them together.
He said he wouldn't do it any other time.
So he's controlling the programming schedule at NBC?
Yes, he is. And he would do it at ABC. And let me tell you something, Don Lemon. If I'm him, I may call and go, I want Don Lemon's spot tonight, and I want you guys to do an hour with me, and I don't want him anywhere near it. What do you think of apples to those apples? Hell yeah, he is the president of the United States. There's a lot I don't agree with, but I tell you what, if he calls me today and says, I want to spend an hour on your show, I'll be like, I'm taking the call. Because you do. My goodness. And why do you take the call? Let's talk about why we take the call. Is it the right thing to do? They should be debating. Yeah, but they're not. And I don't blame Trump for not wanting to do a Zoom call debate with Joe Biden, and then on top of that, a town hall version of a debate that they were going to have, so we'd have delays all over the place and them talking over each other already. That didn't sound fun. And Trump needs this more than Biden does. So I have zero problems with that. None. Like anybody else does. But at the end of the day, let's break this down in a way that most people don't understand, who say, we should boycott NBC. You're not going to boycott NBC. You're not. None of you are going to boycott NBC. Yeah, I'm never watching NBC again, Chad. You'll watch NBC again. It's money. That's all it is. They're competing. They're competing. Absolutely. 110%. It's a business. More eyeballs, more viewers means more revenue. More revenue means people keep their jobs. Other people get bonuses. That's a business. Tomorrow, Trump will care about one thing and one thing only. Did I beat him in the ratings? You won't care about tonight in the questions. He didn't care about that. Did I beat him in the ratings? Because if I did, I'm going to be ha-ha! And then I'll be mum to it if I didn't, and then I'll just complain that he got easier questions than I did. On the other side, I tweeted out, Joe's going to care. Does everybody have a mask? Is everybody here good? We have a mask? Does everybody have lots of masks? Speaking of masks, Liz Allen, communications director, Kamala Harris, she's tested positive for the Rona. We could call it that. Call it the vid. The Wuhan flu. Whatever you want to call it. Coronavirus. She's got it. They've canceled campaigning events for her till Monday. I'm sure everybody's going to be tested. Don't know what happened. Don't know. Could it have been a situation where she wore a mask and it didn't work? Could it have been a situation where she has a life and she had a date and she went somewhere where she probably shouldn't have? And that's a possibility as well. I don't know. But it is what it is. So she's canceled events through the 19th. Does that hurt? No. The less is more right now with Biden and them. Less is more. The less that you do, it's kind of this strategy is working big time. And I think a lot of people are so a few years ago, Martha McSally and Kirsten Sinema ran for the Senate here in Arizona. Right? So they're running for the Senate. Kirsten, who was one time a very uber left-leaning, almost communistic, had kind of become very, very liberal classically. Moved more into the center, more independent, still to the left, but left of center, not nutty left. McSally, first female fighter pilot in history to be in combat and all of these things. She's very much to the right. She ran hardcore at Sinema. Sinema ran a less is more, don't fight campaign, and she beat McSally. McSally then took over after McCain died in that position, and she's running again against a Democrat, Mark Kelly, who has the less is more. I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. I have no idea. This is how I've worked it out, how he's going to beat McSally in the race. He was an astronaut, so he has flown higher than she has. So he wins. But he has a very much less is more campaign. And that's the same strategy that you're seeing in places right now across the country that the Democrats are doing in a lot of ways. They're going less is more. Let the Republicans attack. We'll do less is more. We'll focus on some issues, but we'll do less is more. We'll be quiet. We'll give stat answers where we kind of just walk in circles without really giving you, hey, do you believe in court packing? Look, I believe that we should wait until we see who's going to be president of the United States and what takes place then. And then we can, let the American people know you guys made your decision and we'll pick. And so that's what I believe. It's not the answer. But the thing is, it's less is more. Don't give them anything to bite on. Walk in circles. Don't get angry and antagonistic, just less is more. If you look at all of the polls that are out there, the poll after poll after poll, and you see how strong that Trump is with the Republicans, at the end of the day, what's hurting him is women, suburban women. Even suburban women that are voters who are pro-life are over Trump's antics. They like his actions. They're sick of the show. He's the dude that is there for you all the time, but he's a lot. And mom and your wife are like, he's got to get out of the house, right? I know he's hanging out with you, and I know he's been great. I know he does all these great things for you, but I don't want him around anymore. It's frustrating. And that was the other day. Hey, suburban women, can you like me? Why don't you like me? They're just over the antics. And people can't fathom that tweets and words would cause somebody not to get reelected. Like, I can't fathom that. And it's always men. 99 times out of 100, it's men. It's like, well, I really don't care what he says, but I look at his actions. I get it. I understand. There's a lot of stuff that he's done that I've liked. The problem is, after a while, it's exhausting. It's exhausting for our democracy. Our democratic republic is exhausted. The fighting. People just get exhausted of it. They do. Absolutely. And people can't fathom that who love Trump. But it's just words. It's not. You're not seeing a bigger picture. I'll go back to it again. It's the analogy I continue to use. Everybody out there, every guy out there has a friend that they really love. But he's a lot. And he annoys some of your other friends. He's the kind of guy you take golfing and your three buddies are like, dude, I don't want to golf now. I didn't know he was coming. But then you found out he paid and he got you into a better course. But at the end of the day, you start questioning yourself. Like, my God, dude. Yeah, I know this course was awesome. It was great. But I would have rather paid for something else. Right? You don't hate the guy. But at the same time, you know he's going to bail you and he's got your back. But he's also going to get in the issues that you don't want to get into. And he's going to pull you into stuff that you don't want to be pulled into. And your wife's like, I can't do it anymore. It's kind of what Trump has become for a lot of people out there. And you can be pissed that people are upset about words or this, that, and the other. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you how it is. When I talk to people, when I look at focus groups, this plays big on people's minds. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Masterclass? It didn't sound like very nice when I said masterclass. What is masterclass? Well, how would you like to take classes? exclusively to masterclass, taught by the best of the best, world class in their field. Whether it's acting, whether it's skateboarding. Tony Hawk's going to give me lessons. Yeah. Serena Williams can teach you tennis. What about science? Neil deGrasse Tyson going to teach you a little science right there? Oh, yeah. How does it break down? Well, 20 lessons per class. So you get 20 lessons. High quality film, right? They're not shot on like your iPhone or anything. This is like a real movie studio-esque thing. 10 minutes per lesson. There's downloadable materials, workbooks, exercises, even recipes, because they've got Wolfgang Puck and Gordon Ramsay teaching about cooking. And you consume it at your own pace. You can do it on your phone, your tablet, your computer, your smart TV, and you just go about it. Maybe you just want to expand your knowledge, learn new things, or maybe you've thought about something that was a hobby or you're very interested in. You want to see if you can take it farther. 85 classes, world-class instructors. What are you waiting for? Knowledge, and who knows, opportunity is closer than you think. I recommend you check it out. You're going to get unlimited access and save 15% just for being a Chad Benson Show listener. And the annual membership is so cheap. Go to masterclass.com/Benson, masterclass.com/Benson. Save 15% right now. Masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say
Y'all have a good chance of winning the White House.
Oh, my God. Who is that? Oh, that's Lindsey Graham. And he said you all to who? Amy Klobuchar? Uh-oh. Do you think it could be? Yeah, there's a possibility. I don't know, though. I will say, at this moment, if you ask me, where would I put my money today? I'm non-emotional. I put it on Biden. Vote's not today, though. It isn't. We still have a ways to go. I think the polls will tighten up. You'll always get a surprise or two. But that can go either way. I mean, we could wake up again the day after and go, I can't believe he won again. And there's a very good chance that we could wake up the day after and go, well, doesn't matter about the lawyers or the court hearings or any of these things, that there's going to be this red mirage because Trump lost on the night. That's all a possibility. But when you hear Lindsey Graham, who has been, first of all, he was a detractor of Trump because he had a lot of friends. Let's be real. He's a friend of several of the senators. He didn't like Trump because Trump was, even to the Republicans at the beginning of this, Trump was what? He was an outsider. Like this is the old boys network. What are you doing here? You don't belong with us. I mean, yeah, we want your money. We'd like your support, but you don't get to play in our playground. And then he showed up and he thumped everybody. And then when he won, they rallied around him. Many of them did, including Lindsey Graham. But today, he looked right at Amy Klobuchar.
Y'all have a good chance of winning the White House.
For Trump over the last couple days, say some things that you went, that's a little uncharacteristic from him. Including yesterday saying, you know what? I may not be here next year. You guys may vote me out. And that's okay with me. Okay. That sounds like he understands the enormity of what he has to do in the comeback. But at the end of the day, we'll find out 19 days from now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Next week, a week from today, there will be a confirmation vote for Amy Coney Barrett. I think at this point, it's done and dusted. I think she's going to get in. And we move on. And then we start to do what? Focus on the other things. What's the election? She'll be in place at that point in time if all goes to plan by Election Day. And all this battle about this situation may be for naught. because there's still coronavirus. Unemployment is still massive. There's a malaise in the economy right now as we head into the time of year when retailers and people are looking at everything saying, okay, now this is where we're going to make some hay. And we've got an uncertain election and a lot of different things. So there's a lot out there. But people are trying to figure out, how am I going to pay for rent or my mortgage or my employees, let alone Christmas? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So, what's this Hunter Biden kerfuffle all about? Yeah, that's the thing. So, Kayleigh McEnany, her account was suspended. A lot of people's accounts have been suspended. Twitter, Facebook, because the Post broke something about emails yesterday that somehow they came into possession of a computer that had some old emails on it. And it shows the corruption between Burisma, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and then away we go. And then the Post had it on their front page. People started trying to tweet it and Facebook it, and then Facebook and Twitter slammed down and said, no, you are not going to do that.
But Facebook and Twitter made moves to try to limit the spread of this story. And the Washington Post is reporting that some intelligence experts think this has the hallmark of like a disinformation campaign meant to interfere with the election, Savannah.
Yeah, and extraordinary because Twitter's CEO also said Twitter should have communicated better about why it was taking down the content.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Biden and them said, look, it was they've not denied the emails, but they never met with the guy. And everybody goes back to, well, Biden got that prosecutor, that Slotkin guy. I got him fired. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? Because we've all been through it. And then when you point out, well, you know, the Republicans also wanted him fired. And they had written a letter, as had the EU and the European Bank and many other people that had dealings in Ukraine, that they wanted, you know, this guy gone. But people don't care about that. They will, oh, no, this proves that, you know, Biden, Burisma, the whole 9 yards. And my issue has nothing to do with any of that. My issue has to do with Facebook and Twitter taking something that was pretty legitimate. And, you know, the Biden and them didn't deny that the email, they said it was never on any official calendar for meeting. I don't really know if you're going to put something like that potentially on a calendar. And look, do I think Hunter Biden probably would like to have had some of these things happen and some of the influence? Of course. Do I think he peddled his name? Yeah. Let's ask Ivanka Trump. You don't think that? So Trump's not the one that should be standing there talking about stuff like this. You're, when, you know, little nepotism in this world. I'm not saying those kids have done anything wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying that's a tough argument to make. The better argument is, hold on a second, stuff that's true. As far as the emails, you guys are now limiting. You're saying, and you're admitting, yeah, we did that. Is that nuts? That to me is a bigger issue. Now, it's a private business. You guys do what you want. I totally understand that. The issue I have is, your goalpost always moves, and it always seems to continue to move for the left, and that pisses people off, and it should. This week, one of our Facebook posts was found to have false information on it, according to their independent fact finder person. Well, what was it? Greta Thunberg, the Swedish climate activist, endorsed Joe Biden. All of that is true. That's what we put. Why? Because he's all about climate change, going to get everybody back in the Paris Climate Accords, which is going to change nothing, but he's going to say the right things and all of this stuff. So that was all true. We didn't say anything other than that, right? Like, you know, the information, though, when you click through to say, would you like to see this information? Yes. Would you like to see where our independent fact checkers found this to be false? So you click on it. And it takes you to a page that says, this statement is wrong. Greta Thunberg did not ask the Chinese government to stop using chopsticks. We didn't say that. That was not. Wait, what? And I'm like, well, did Anthony change something that I didn't know about? So you go back over. Nope, he didn't. And you come back over here. Said Greta Thunberg did not ask the Chinese. That's the issue people have, and you should have a serious issue about that. We're grown-ass people, right? We're grown-ass adults. That's Facebook. No, there's no kids on Facebook, so we can actually say we're adults here. Let people make up their own decisions. You don't need to protect everybody all the time. If you're influenced by a rock star, by a meme, by if you're influenced by any of that crap, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. We need to stop protecting the stupid. Because who are they sharing? Well, they'll share disinformation. Who are they sharing it with? With other people that believe like they do. Then who cares? You already believe this? Yeah, I believe it too. Okay, here, let's share this amongst each other. So who cares? Do you really care? No. But let people make up their own mind. Well, what about the people that don't feel that way? If you really care about any subject, right? That matters to you politically. Because they don't care if you're wrong about, like, you know, if you put a false score up of a soccer game. They don't care about that. But if you care honestly about pro-life, Hunter Biden and his emails, pro-choice, where does Planned Parenthood get most of their money? If you care about any of these things that matter to you, marriage equality, just whatever it is, if it matters, you're going to do some homework. And if you have any brain at all, you will look at more than one site, including maybe a site or two, that even if you have a belief that maybe you're like, you know what, I want to dig a little bit deeper. And maybe there's another side of the story. But if not, then what does it hurt? I'm still flabbergasted that YouTube took down or limited access to people who believe the earth is flat. I can't even imagine that. Like, what did you think people were going to do? Walk to the end of the earth to see if it was flat? What if they would have fallen off? Well, then I guess they would have been right. But who does that hurt? At all. Producer Phil and I have talked about this ad nauseum off the air. That I have listened to people who've tried to make arguments about the earth being flat, and I say, you know what? Well, I don't believe it is. Their argument was a cogent, smart argument, and it sounds okay, but it never, ever crossed my mind that I needed to walk to the end of the earth, and it sure in the hell didn't hurt me. We need to stop protecting stupidity and laziness, because that's a lot of what it is. It's not even stupidity. That's wrong of me to say. It's ignorance out of laziness. You're in an echo chamber. You're not stupid, but you're ignorant to something. You believe it, and you're too lazy to actually want to change it up a bit and find out if something was real or not. Some people are stupid. We know that. Come on now. But I think we need to stop this across the board. We need to say, look, if you throw stuff out there, as long as you're not advocating violence, like, I think we can all agree, no. But if you want to tell me the earth is flat and you've got an argument for it, I should have every right to listen to what you have to say. I have yet to hear the argument of why it's dangerous. Producer Phil, you've heard an argument why it's dangerous? Anybody?
Nope.
No. And he's the authority. He believes the earth's a triangle. And he would know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. We've got the big pretend debates tonight, I guess it would be. Tonight feels like it. I always am a huge fan of town halls compared to debates. I think debates, they usually, especially now, they just fall into just farcical shouting matches. If I was the debate committee or whatever it is, I forget their name. If it was me, I would do a half an hour town hall or 45 minutes with each candidate. And then I do another hour with them together. Break it up in two. And I think that would be neat. Better. Tonight, the town hall will be interesting. I don't know if we're going to learn much out of it. At the end of the day, I think that all that matters to Trump is that his ratings are bigger than Joe's ratings. But that'll be something. But I think we just get so much more. And I hope there are real people in Joe's format, because the last one that were supposed to be, it was just the worst. It was like softball questions, Joe. And the ones that were supposed to be undecided, when people started doing checking, which isn't hard to do, they're like, wow, here's a lady that's campaigning for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and has things like F Trump on her tweets. Don't know if you're undecided. I'm feeling like you've made a decision. So hopefully tonight it'll be a little bit better. But does it move the needle for the president? Because now it's about everything you do has to be strategic in moving the needle to get every last vote you possibly can. You don't have a month. You don't have 2 months. You don't have 3 months. You have 19 days. And in some cases, those days are already gone because 12.5 to 13 million people have already voted. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Rough Greens. I love my dog Doodle. In fact, I'm at the point where I used to come home. So I go through the door, and my other dogs, Red and Bowie, they're puppies. One's 1.5, the other one's like 8 months old. And they bounce, like bang, 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 and they bounce everywhere. And they come up but it used to be I'd come home and Doodle, he didn't know, he's deaf. And he doesn't see very well. And he would just sit there, and I'd come in and I'd, gently touch him, and he wouldn't do anything. And now, the minute I come through the door, the minute they start barking, he leaps off the couch and runs at me and bounces around. And I love it. And Rough Greens is the only thing that we've changed in the last several months. It's not dog food. You sprinkle it on dog's food, it brings your dog's food to life. It is incredible to see the change in him. Horrific arthritis and fatty tumors in his hips, to the point where you couldn't even pet him past the top of his little shoulders because he would growl and nip at you. Now he plays, he runs, he does so many different things, and it's awesome. It's got vitamins, vegetables, minerals. It's got probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. It brings your dog's food to life, and it gives them so much of what they truly need that they're missing from their food already. $14.95 for a 2-week jump start. It's the best thing I've ever done for my dogs, and I give it to all of them, and they love it, and they're happy, and they're healthy. Try it yourself. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. Are you ffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MyDog88, 833-MyDog88. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
A stubborn llama on the interstate stopped traffic in Baker City. Take a look at this picture from Oregon State Police. Oh my goodness. It shows that llama just hanging out on the on-ramp to I-84. According to troopers, a man was trying to take his 3 llamas from Washington to Utah. They were in the back of his pickup, but clearly some of them got out. The driver says he tried tracking down the llama, but then the other llamas bailed. That's when he called in for backup. Law enforcement came in to help him out, and that driver came away with a warning for what troopers called operating a leaking or shifting load. Leaking llamas.
Oh, my God. Now, is it stubborn llama? I like that. Leaking llama? Another good name for a band. Stubborn llama sounds good. Like, hey, what's up? How you guys doing? Stubborn llama. No. Yeah, that's the name of your band? Awesome. Maybe you're a DJ? Come on, did say. Leaking llama. Whoop, whoop, stubborn llama. And as he tries to stop one, the other ones take off. So that's an animal I've never owned. I've owned a lot of stuff. And I look back and I think, I've not owned a llama. Would I want to own a llama? My buddy Russ has a llama. He's got several of them. He always tells me it's hit or miss with the llamas. You get a bunch, you get 1 or 2 that are okay, you get some that are very stubborn. It's very interesting. Could this be the next thing? I always threaten everybody. I say, I'm going to get a goat. You guys watch out. I'm going to get a goat, and Winston's going to have a friend. He's going to have a goat friend, and they're going to do fun stuff, and then they're going to go into battle together. It'll be awesome. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. I continue to say it. I'll continue to ask the question, what if we do not get a vaccine that works really good? What do we do? How do we get to the point where we resume normal life? The best thing to fight against this virus, at the end of the day, is going to be us, our bodies, our immune systems. We should do what? We should try to protect the people that are vulnerable when it comes to the coronavirus. And then people get mad because Trump's talking about herd immunity. Well, herd immunity is not everybody gets it and then we're all better. What ends up happening is a lot of people, you build up the T-cell immunity, which is not the antibody immunity. Much different. But protecting the vulnerable, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? And then I heard this.
This idea that we have the power to protect the vulnerable is total nonsense because history has shown that that's not the case.
Well, Dr. Fauci, then what are we doing? Because if we can't protect him, then why are we inside? I'm just curious about all of this. If I am wearing a mask, washing my hands, doing everything I can to social distance, we're staying away from grandma and grandpa, we're not going places, and at the end of the day you tell me, well, we really can't stop it from happening, then what are we doing? Because I'd rather just get it over with if we're going to do something. And nobody's answered any question about the what if we don't find that vaccine that works the way that we want it to in the herd immunity world. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Have a wonderful, amazing rest of your day. I see Friday. Woo woo! Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.